Why is my soul cast down? That's a question, Psalms 42. Psalmist is talking about a spiritual journey, a spiritual quest. And I get the impression that he's talking about somebody who has known God, but has somehow or another abandoned God, or has at least to say that they've kind of put God away in their life, and they're finding themselves empty inside. There's something not right, and they know it's not right, and they want to find their way back to God. And this psalm is just so full of just spiritual truths, really tools for the journey. And he says in the psalm, he says, I'm looking to get restored. And again, these are my words. I'm taking the thoughts, putting them into my words, is just looking to be restored. And he says, I went to the house of God. And I read that, and I really just began to just rejoice in my spirit to read those words, because they are so full of truth. And I know that in the day and age in which we are living, and I'm recording this, that many people who used to go to the house of God on a regular basis, and they experience the help that gives a person in their spiritual walk. But circumstances have caused them to abandon the house of God. And now they have run out of spiritual fuel. They become void, and they become empty because they have not been to the house of God, both in their own relationship with God, because not only did they abandon the house of God, they abandoned the disciplines that we know that we have to have a successful spiritual walk, and that is our prayer life and being in the Word of God. And all those things have been put aside, and now they're saying, why has God forsaken me? Well, let's just be real here. God hasn't forsaken. We have forsaken. This is the status of our lives. We're not in church. We're not reading the Word of God. We're not praying, but we're wondering, why am I disquieted in my spirit, as the psalmist says? Why am I finding this emptiness? And why is it that when I go to God, who's always been my rock, we find that he's saying, there's something missing here. And that's just the reality. That when we abandon the things that we know are necessary to maintain a healthy spiritual relationship and a spiritual walk, we abandon these things. Why would we be surprised when we find ourselves being empty, feeling abandoned, and a restlessness within our soul and our spirit? But the psalmist had the right idea. He went to the house of God. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.